picture of time of solution. See the possibility.
Hi, everybody. I am Carey Davidson, author of the Five Archetypes, Ancient Technology for Problem Solving. And this is a channel about healing relationships with ourselves and with others. And today we are here with an absolutely beautiful human who is a primary Earth archetype. And Cate, tell us what you'd like to change.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for having me on the show and helping. I would like to change the fact that, which is a pattern in my life, of being more confident and creative in an environment where either it's my perception or in reality is rather hostile. And I'm talking about a past work situation, I guess, but I know that it's a recurring issue as well.
So tell me a little bit more about confident and creative. How do you know when you're being confident and creative?
Well, for one thing, I don't feel absolutely horrible and super self-conscious, and I have the ability to think on my feet, and I'm not kind of like deer in the headlights. That is how I get when I'm scared. I go to this real panic mode and I literally can't think. And I get scared when people are looking at me funny, when they're cutting me off, when they're not laughing at my jokes, when they're looking around at each other after I'm done saying something, and when they don't look at me at all when they're doing decision making. I get this real feeling that I'm being kind of disrespected and nobody really cares what I have to say. And that it really sends me into a panic mode.
Can you think back throughout your lifetime around maybe other times, even as a child, like other times when this happened, when you felt that they're potentially laughing, they're not looking, they're not paying attention, and you have this feeling other than in the work environment?
Yes, I mean, it's classic. It's when I was a kid, I was bullied horrendously. And I was, it was awful because in my household, I was kind of like the golden child. Both my parents and my sister were incredibly charmed by me and my relatives as well. And the feedback I always got was I was beautiful and charming and funny and a delight. And then I started school, and from nursery school all the way through eighth grade, I was severely bullied and completely um, humiliated, like almost every single day that I went to school. And my friends were the kind of friends that, when no one else would sit with, we all sat together. And, I had problems academically too, but it's really weird. Like what hurt me, wounded me deeply, deeply was the social stuff. Like I had dyslexia and I did get over the dyslexia, or at least I got over a lot of my performance about not being a great reader. But the social stuff just destroyed me. I was destroyed by it. I never thought I could recover. I'm surprised I have recovered as much as I have.
I'm sorry that you went through that. It's really devastating. And for so many years and for so many formative years
Hmm.
to feel that. So I just first want to give you tremendous hugs through this ether here. And even though we're so far beyond that in our years, it's part of our foundation, and it sucks. So just a pause to just send you some love there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So so let me ask you then kind of the opposite. You started to talk a little bit about how at home you were the delight, you were charming, you were beautiful. If you can think about other experiences, maybe in work or outside of the home, since you've grown up, are there any other situations where you do feel seen?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I had the same profession. And almost from the beginning of that profession, I did pretty well. Like, even when it wasn't anywhere near perfect, and you should never know what is perfection, um, I got a lot of positive feedback. whether it was from an employer or from the public or from, well, I mean, I guess that's it. Like I got enough to really make me feel like really give me a lot of confidence, I guess. And I had ideas that just came out of my, really from me, and I executed them. And I didn't have, there wasn't too many people sort of getting in my way of doing that. It was just kind of like, go for it. And I did it. And it was on moving on to the next project. And, you know, that was great. And I experienced quite a lot of that, and not without problems, my goodness. Being dyslexic, there's definitely problems, but there was just, that's what it was like. And it was like that for a pretty long time.
You mentioned you had people around you that said, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give an example of a time when that happened, that it felt great?
Okay, well, I was a journalist for a daily newspaper for a long time, and I had this idea after, I guess I'd been doing the same job for about maybe 15 years, which is a long time at different newspapers. But anyway, I started this project where I would follow a homeless man, kind of track his life and write a series about it. And it was the feedback that I got from my bosses was go for it, because they had nothing to lose. I did it on the side of my other daily work that I had to do. And when I produced this series, it was, people really liked it. I got a ton of good feedback of it. Again, definitely not perfect. And one of my bosses, my probably my biggest ally, actually really didn't like it and was really like horrified that I did it. But whatever, like I did it, and I don't regret it. And I think the overall feedback was wonderful. So yeah, so that's an example.
That's awesome. I love that. It's like it's almost like a propeller, it's momentum behind you. It feels like, okay, good. I can do this. And people want to see me do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that happened as a result is you were able to take negative feedback, not being seen, not being celebrated, not being looked at, because maybe you had that propulsion behind you saying, go for it. Almost like puffed you up to be able to tolerate that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it was like a propeller. I almost think of it as like a big cushion. Like I had so much positive at that point by the time I got the negative, that I was like, okay, like that's you. Now, I wish I could recreate that all the time. You're right. And I'm really struggling right now to do that.
Well, that's what Five Archetypes does.
Mm-hmm.
We recreate that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so part of this questioning strategy is basically there is a foundational way energy flows in a system according to ancient Chinese medicine wisdom. And it's been that way, and it is that way, and it's nature, and it just is. It's just the way things work. And when we take the Five Archetypes questionnaire and see the breakdown of these 5 elements within our nature, we can compare how we show up to the foundational natural way things move in a system, and then see like, oh, I just need to tweak this a little bit here, tweak that a little bit there, with tiny little changes that we'll talk about. And then you recreate those moments when everything's in flow. And what was interesting about what you just shared is, according to Chinese medicine, when the child is not feeling well, you heal the mother. And what that means is these elements, they go in a circle. They're in this process where you have fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. So the child here, the element that hurts, is the fire in you that wants to be seen and celebrated and loved for who you are. And you shared that was something that you really loved during school, when you were a kid, that you got that. You were, where I wrote this down, hold on, beautiful. You were seen as beautiful, delightful, charming, and that made you feel incredible. So that's your fire. And all of a sudden you're in a space where your fire isn't being seen and celebrated. So what's the mother or the parent of fire? It's wood. Wood is just go for it, girl. Wood is momentum. It's a plan. It's a motor behind you. It's belief in you. It's the coach that tells you you can keep going. You can do it. And so when you're motivated by that wood energy, your fire can take those moments when people don't look at you or feel that you're charming and not make it mean anything, because it doesn't matter anymore because you're so propelled by forward movement and that coach. So what I want to do for you today is literally recreate that in your own consciousness so that you're constantly giving yourself what fuels your natural flow rather than giving yourself only the parts that feel exhausted. That makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
On.
So, in order to make it relevant to what's going on today, I want to ask you a little bit more about what would success look like if you woke up tomorrow and you're like, "Damn, Carey, nailed it. My life feels so good." What would be different? What choices would you feel like you would be able to make?
That I would be able to comfortably say what I think and what I feel without feeling like I was going to get completely shot down and kind of destroyed or make a gigantic fool of myself or have everyone hate me.
So right now in your life, do you have any relationship where you feel like you can say what you think and feel without feeling like that?
Yes.
Do you feel like sharing one? You don't have to, but
Well,
can you give us an example?
my husband, he's a very strong personality, like super strong personality and super smart. I'm very insecure about not being smart. That's like another issue of mine. But like I feel totally confident that I could say anything in the world to him. If he does shoot me down, it's merely a conversation and it doesn't impact my self-confidence or my self-worth at all. I don't feel like he's attacking me. I just feel like he's expressing his opinion and I'm expressing mine. And we end up having a good conversation, or we leave it alone and have a good conversation later. And it's not this do or die. It's on me. It's all my fault because I'm an idiot. That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to get rid of. The it's on me because I'm an idiot sort of feeling.
So what would you say it took in your relationship with your husband to get you there? What was a consistent way you both showed up that over time you built that capacity to be able to take, call it criticism or feedback from him and not feel that you're not smart?
Hmm. Gosh, I hate to say this, it sounds so hopeless, but I feel like the fact that I was time proof that I was right sometimes, which I don't think that's very helpful. But also, even when I was wrong or that it was TBD, nobody knows who was right or wrong. We both had parts of right and wrong. My husband would apologize or he would try a different angle or he would just accept me. Like he didn't leave me. He didn't run away. He didn't even when I made terrible mistakes, he saw more good than bad, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, like he just didn't go anywhere. He stayed respectful and sweet and we stayed together. He stuck with me. He wasn't judgmental.
Yeah. So it sounds like over probably a long period of time, he has demonstrated a consistent way of showing up that is respectful, trustworthy, kind, compassionate, that he sounds like a self-aware person where he can probably also say like, "Oh, you know what, maybe that was me." And those are qualities that reinforce that sense of trust and loosen up our capacity to tolerate those crunchy moments. Because we know that for the most part, this person shows up with love and with compassion and with empathy, and they have my back. Like nothing, no one's leaving because of this tiny moment. So, would you say in the instances where you don't currently feel like you can say what you think and feel without feeling like you could be attacked, what level of trust is there, that ongoing empathy and that solid relationship compared to what you have with your husband?
Okay, less time for sure. Um, less um yeah, it's not a proven commodity right now. Um, and more people. I mean, he's just one. Uh, and I guess that's it. I guess those are the two major ones.
Okay, so here we have a relatively young situation, a young relationship that needs trust to be built.
Mhm.
And jobs are interesting because we don't pick them the same way we pick someone we're going to marry. So, we have it fills a different need. We hope that it's a symbiotic, lovely relationship. And sometimes, we're thrown into a group of people that we would never date, that we might not even call our best friends or close friends, but we're there to get something done.
Mhm.
And so it calls upon a very different muscle from us and a different, I don't know, a different skill set. So I have some ideas from a five archetypes perspective. Would you like to hear what I think?
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, thank you. All right. So, so Cate, your primary archetype is Earth with a very high secondary fire. And I feel like just from listening to you, they probably have both been your primaries for your lifetime and probably very close, one or the other. And when your primary is Earth, your gift to the world is empathy and unity. But you can get lost needing to be needed
Mhm.
because there's an overarching fear of abandonment,
Yeah.
that if I'm not needed and appreciated for what I deliver, for being the glue in these relationships, then they might not need me, and then I might be discarded. At the same time, it's very highly modified by your fire. And the fire in us is the energy that wants to be connected to other people and to be loved and appreciated and celebrated and seen for who we are. We get things because we're charming and other people like it. And those are your two highest. The other three are much lower. So you're overviewing your world and the value that you bring to the world through fire and earth, through being someone who should be seen and celebrated and played with and enjoyed, and someone who's the one who fixes problems, the one who makes everything stable and reliable. And so if you're not getting that feedback from around you, you're at risk for believing that everything is going wrong. And so that's kind of what's happening at the why you're feeling this way level. And then let's go into kind of the solution. Like, so what do we do about it? You said that you want to have more confidence and be more creative. So confidence is wood energy and creativity is water energy. Those are two lowest. And so it makes sense that those are naturally what you want to build in yourself. Um, the other thing, I took some notes here. The other thing I want to say is that fire, you have a lot of fire. Only 6% of people on the planet have highest fire. So it's very common to feel pretty misunderstood or to be working in a group environment where most people have lowest fire or it's just not their primary. So when it's not their primary or it's their lowest, fire can feel like it's too silly. It's not serious enough. It's not here to get the job done. It's here to play too much. It's here to joke too much. Why are you trying to make me laugh? Why are you smiling at things that aren't funny? So it's not that there's something wrong with you. And it's not that there's something wrong with other people. It's just that it's a very misunderstood element. And for you, it's totally natural. And it's almost a default, almost the way you hold yourself, the way you have immediate access to intuition. Like you talked about how like you had an intuitive hit for how to write something in an old job and people said go for it. So your intuition in that job was celebrated by wood. And so that combination felt great. In this scenario, it sounds like you're in a workplace where not a lot of people have access to their fire element. And so putting it out there almost feels too hot. It's almost like rather than the candle in the room, it's a wildfire. And so people are going to retreat naturally because they just don't know what to do with that energy. Is any of this making sense so far?
Oh my goodness, so much sense. It's incredible because especially like I will, and my default is when I'm looking at people's faces and seeing, I think they're looking at me like I'm kind of a freak. My intuition is to try to make them feel calmer, so I smile. And I don't, it's not really helping. Yeah.
No, it's so funny because what each element, each primary archetype, when they don't feel like their way of engaging in the world is working, and it's only not working because the other people in the room don't have a great relationship with that element within themselves. It has nothing to do with us being weird. When they feel that discomfort, they strengthen their primary even more so that to prove to you like, hey, see me, which is exactly what you're describing. And so the bigger the smile, the stranger it feels. And all you're trying to do is create more connection and more love and more joy. But the way it's received is, oh my gosh, when is she going to get serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the work is a combination of things. But one thing to keep in mind is that know that your primary fire, there's nothing wrong with it. Or your primary earth, there's nothing wrong with these elements. It's just that can you have compassion in a room where most of the people in the room aren't in touch with that part of themselves? And when you come in with that as the main way you interact, what happens is people start to feel inadequate about themselves, whether it's conscious or unconscious or a hidden part of themselves. You represent something that they're not able to connect to. The same way you go into a room and you feel that you're inadequate or you lack confidence or that you're not smart, there's a perception in you that just because someone else has higher wood, water, or metal, that they're smarter, that they're more serious. Not true. It's just that they show up. They're almost showing you the parts of yourself you need to become better friends with. And instead of seeing it that way, you're seeing it as something that's they're judging you for not having. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So it's not that I don't have it, even though I'm low in it. Um, it's just I have it like everybody has all the elements. So I can access it if I just try to practice that muscle.
100%. And that's what we're going to do.
Wow. I
Yeah.
think that's very right on. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to do two things. You're going to recognize and then quiet your overactive fire and earth when you're in the presence of people who don't have access to theirs. Because if you come in as a gentle energy rather than an over the top energy, it makes them feel so safe that they don't have to overdo their primary. So you're not creating this weird back and forth interactive dynamic that's unconsciously harming each other just by showing up as your extreme selves, right? When you show up, you don't have to show, everyone doesn't have to show up at a 10. We can show up at a 5, still be who we are, but honor and dignify everyone in the room and not have to overdo our things and make people feel uncomfortable. So number one is recognize when you have too much of an urge to be fiery and earthy and pause and do something else. Ask a question, slow yourself down. Slow yourself down by going to the water fountain, get a cup of coffee, get something to eat. Say, oh my gosh, I forgot I need to go check my emails. Distance yourself as much as is appropriate in the moment from the interaction. Give yourself a breather and start to have a relationship with the thoughts you're having that are telling you you need to smile and make a joke. Say, Cate, dude, do I really need to make a joke right now? Is that what the situation calls for? And maybe it does. And then you go back and tell the joke. But maybe it calls for honoring and dignifying the fact that the other people in the room are feeling sad about something or grieving the loss of something. And that's totally cool. And they need to experience that and go through it without needing to be cheered up. So that's number one, is recognizing when you're overdoing the primaries and give yourself space so you don't have an impulse to go and do that all the time to make yourself feel better. The second bit is to now create opportunities for you to build more metal, water, and wood in you. And how's your water intake? Do you drink enough water during the day?
So I think so.
Okay. How's your sleep?
Better than it used to be, for sure. When I first, yeah, with menopause, it was rough, but I'm on hormone replacement and that helps. So that's better.
Okay. How's your exercise?
My exercise is good. I usually exercise pretty consistently 2 or 3 times a week. I wish I could do more, but yeah.
Do you get outside every day?
Not every day. I have a long commute um and my yeah, no, I don't get out every day. Unless you count driving in the car.
I mean,
But any day I can, I'm outside for like at least 2 hours. Like
okay.
weekends, days off.
Okay. And what about organization, structure, routine?
I mean, I'd say that's not like terrific. I'm trying though, but it's it's the one again where I often feel like, am I the only one who feels like this? Like I just kind of feel like I have so much to check up on real quick. And then if one of those things that I'm checking up on, what I have to attend to, then all the other things I was supposed to check up on don't get checked up on.
Okay.
So, and I'm aware of that, but that's kind of, it does still happen all the time. It's just a lot. Like I just kind of also have a lot to do.
Mhm.
Not an excuse. It's just like there is actually a lot going on, but I mean, I still could stick to my routine for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a very small metal activity to
Mhm.
bookend your day,
Mhm.
because what happens with fire and earth is that the mind can kind of get overwhelmed and panicky and
Mhm.
feel like it just goes. And we need to start to teach the mind to think about doing the right thing at the right time, at the right place, with the right people for the right reasons. And rather than addressing it like that, which the ego will resist, we're going to address it in a different way. So in the morning, first thing when you wake up before you get out of bed, think about 3 things or people you're grateful for, very specific. And this could be, I'm grateful that I found my left slipper because I thought I had lost it. Or I'm so grateful that traffic started moving when I was driving to work because I didn't miss my meeting. Or I'm really grateful for my grandma's red earrings because it matches the new sweater my husband got me for my birthday. Very, very specific things. Then at the end of the day, at night when you're in bed, the last thing you do before you go to bed is the same activity. And make it related to things that happened in your work to find the diamonds. It trains your mind to stop only seeing the negative, but to start being grateful for even the hard things because they helped you grow from mistakes or learn new things. And and when you're walking to and from your car, when you're outside, stop for a second and notice something new in nature. This could literally take you a second. And if you're near it, touch it. If it's a tree, wow, I never noticed how the trunk of that tree twists to the left. Wow, I never noticed how the sun reflecting on the window of the car makes it look like there's more clouds in the sky than there are.
Mhm.
So that's it. 2 things. We need to create a barrier for the mind getting too busy in
Mhm.
the in the fire and earth stuff and contain it with metal so that you have more access to your water wood energy, which is creativity and I was going to say movement. It is movement, but it's confidence also. Did that sound like stuff that you could do?
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed when I am able to notice the positive, it does make me panic less and make me kind of get more excited for the day, no matter what. Because I know something good is going to happen along with the things that are hard for me. So yeah, I like that. That's not hard. I thought you were going to tell me I would have to be more assertive, which
I love that you said that, because this is a huge point I talk about. Each one of us, our primary and the archetypes that are lowest, they're hard for us to achieve, and that it's hard for us to quiet down. This isn't easy, or we would have done it already. And what makes it hard is that there's the ego part of our primary and our lowest archetypes doesn't want to not be important. That was like double, triple negative. However, it wants to stay alive. And so if we address change by addressing the thing itself, it never works. And so the only way the mind and the behavior start to change is when we address the relationship we have to our perception of reality, that interconnected relationship. But in order to change that, we actually have to create the space to have a relationship to it rather than thinking that it's our identity. If we think this stuff is just who we are, of course it's not going to change. And of course we're going to double down and say, like, no, you're going to make me be confident and speak up in front of people that scare me. No, we're just going to soften your capacity to recognize when it pops up so that you can activate a different part of yourself when it happens and quiet down this whole story that it's a bad thing and reframe it as like, ooh, I just got another opportunity to expand my muscles, my metal muscles, my water muscles, and my wood muscles, to stop overvaluing the fiery, earthy parts of myself when I feel uncomfortable. Because all we're doing is bringing your heart into center. And when we bring your heart into center, anything is possible. When your heart is stuck in the primary archetype areas, your view of yourself and your potential in this world is very limited to only 20-40% of who you are and what's possible. So it's a very different strategy, and it's meant to rapidly shift you into your highest conscious self and improve these relationships to your own thoughts and to the people you work with. So here we are.
Wow. All right. That's so great. Thank you so much. I love it. I always love talking to you.
Likewise. Likewise, you are a gem. You are a gem. Thank you for doing this. And I think that you're going to help a lot of people with this question. I think a lot of people have the same challenge. So,
Well, I wish that they would be in my life because I don't feel like there's a lot of people like me.
well, maybe we'll start a support group for fiery, earthy people, because you're right. Now that, let me take it back. I did say only 6% of people have primary fire. So we are unique. And so yeah, so let's put a shout out. Anybody want to be part of a support group? Let's do this. All right, I nominate you.
Yay, me too.
Mwah. All right, we'll talk to you soon. I want to revisit and hear how it's going.
Okay, for sure.
Thank you, Miss Cate.